Welcome to Objections with Stan Willis. I'm Michael Morris with Staniel E. Willis. What, is E your middle name?
C. Stanley.
No. That sounds weird.
No,
you have to put the initial in the...
Seriously, I was going to talk to you about this because I think I want to change your name to Brandon.
You know what's funny? Brandon's very popular.
Yeah,
the name, not the person.
It is very popular.
We're going to touch on him in a minute because we always have to.
I'm not touching Brandon.
Well, here's the question I have. Would you rather have the week that Biden had when he met the Pope and had to change his shorts, or would you rather own the Las Vegas Raiders right now? I'll give you a little bit more context.
I think personally, I'm going with shoot myself. I'd rather shoot myself.
That is another option because 81 million votes had to drop deuce when he was with the Pope. And he got muddy. And then in the Raiders case, not only a few weeks ago did they fire John Gruden for emails, which I want to get into that piece, but Henry Ruggs, the second, I'm not excusing his father, the second, killed someone in his Corvette going 157 miles an hour at 3:30 in the morning, drunk with a gun on his seat. I don't know what party or wedding he was going to at that time with that ensemble, but kills a woman and her dog. You killed somebody's dog, you should get killed as well. But he survives it. The Raiders organization, within 12 hours, releases him because that's probably the answer. He's never going to play football again. Would you say that's fair?
I imagine.
Sorry, where he's not wearing a prison outfit. He's never going to play football in the professionals.
I imagine, first of all, the injuries from that would be somewhat significant. But even if he overcame those, I imagine that he's probably going to be prosecuted for something in there.
Is there any... So I want to talk from his side of things.
I mean, 157 miles an hour is pretty fast.
But saying he slowed down to 126 before he hit them.
Before he hit them?
Yes.
So there's some responsibility. He really just got his foot off the gas.
Yeah, most likely. How do you even have a car that goes that fast that's street legal at 3:30 in the morning? Like, how much money do you have to have that? If
you're going to go 157 miles an hour, 3:30 in the morning is probably the best time to pick.
I just think that when I'm looking at the thing gets worse.
You don't want Nate out there driving his 1972 Toyota pickup out there while you're trying to. Have you
ever tried to follow Nate anywhere? He drives worse than Henry Ruggs. He'll like, just follow me, and he gets like 9 car lengths ahead of you. I don't know why he's in such a rush. I'm following you.
Well, if you had a car where you didn't have to put your feet through the floorboards to make it go, it might not be such a problem.
If I hold on to my Mazda Tribute, the 2004 edition, the ramped up edition, if I have that for another 20 years, I'm going to take it to the Meacham Auto Auction. I'm going to get probably $200,000 for it.
Maybe.
I'll sell it to you for $150 right now.
Stranger things have happened. Okay. Now, I've got all my money tied up in cars that actually run.
You buy a car for $3,600 cash and drive it for 5 years. You expect it to be peak performance. As a lawyer, which we both are, who would
only on Planet Michael?
Okay. First of all, in this
Planet
show,
Brandon, I'm sorry, I forgot that.
I've had plenty of people reach out to me for legal advice, and I always say, "Let me confer with Stan." That's a lawyer term. Let me confer with him.
Stan is a lawyer term because I'm actually a lawyer.
Okay. Well, we've established this on other shows that I could be. I just choose not to be. My mom said I was special and could do whatever I want.
Yeah, you could have gone to law school.
I've driven by one. Yeah. Capital Law. I drive by it all the time. There's a little sandwich shop right there.
I picked you for an Ohio State guy. I figured you'd be.
No.
You'd be over there at the campus bars all the time.
Oh, I was. I just didn't go to the classes.
Oh, well, yeah.
I went to the
Spent a lot of time in the library, huh?
First of all.
Remember the library? There used to be a bar down there called the library back in the day.
I do remember it.
Yeah.
Once about 7 or 8 o'clock, you get there, and then you wouldn't remember where you're at about midnight, 1 o'clock.
Tell your mom and dad I spent all night in the library.
Yeah, I think that's part of the thing.
Yeah.
Except my dad one time said, "I'll pick you up from the library." I'm like, no, it's not that kind of library. But as fellow, let's take.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
We're talking about manslaughter.
Oh,
and good times.
So I need to be more serious.
No, not really. Anytime someone gets killed, it's guffaws everywhere. But if somebody called you with that case to defend them, how quickly do you hang up that phone? What do you even do?
I mean, he's got a lot of money, so he'll get a defense attorney, I'm sure. But I mean, from a prosecutor standpoint,
isn't this open and shut?
So, well, you would think so. But you've got the. In Ohio, you have a lot of different crimes with which he could be prosecuted. He's probably not murder one, because murder one requires premeditation. So he would have had to think, I'm going to go kill this woman or kill somebody. Murder two is kind of it's kind of a lesser thing, but if what he was doing is reckless or wanton, then he could get a murder two or maybe a murder three. Then there's all the manslaughter and vehicular homicide and all those kinds of things. But then there's also, in most states, have a felony murder kind of law. And basically with a felony murder law, if you're committing a felony and anyone dies while you're committing the felony, then you can be charged with felony murder, which is, I'm not sure which one it's equivalent to, but
it's equivalent to felonious. So
if he felonious,
that's the verb of felony.
If driving 157 miles an hour while intoxicated is a felony,
in your opinion,
I mean, if it is, I don't know.
That could be we're not from Vegas. No, we should say that.
Yeah, we're not from Vegas, so we don't know if that's legal or not. I mean, it would be legal to smoke dope and pick up a hooker, but it's
which again, if you can do it, do it. That's what we at Objections stand for: freedom.
Freedom is a good thing, but driving 157 miles an hour at 3:30 in the morning, not a good thing.
The sad part is he had texted Derek Carr, the quarterback, a few hours earlier. Like they're having a conversation back and forth, to where the quarterback was like, "Hey, if you need me, let me know." So that's even worse. So you were communicating before, and you never think
he was wasted, and he knew he was wasted.
Oh yeah. So not a good look overall, but it's another stain on it. Look, the NFL has all kinds of problems. What the other part of when we're talking about emails is the Raiders had to dismiss. I don't know whether John Gruden stepped down or they asked him to step down, but the NFL got the Raiders, and they got emails from 2010 and 2012 time period going after the head of the Players Association, who is a non-white fella. Okay, fair enough. Mm-hmm. And John Gruden is a white guy that likes to go to Hooters. So we've established that. Mm-hmm. So he called him several names without using like the N-word. We all know what that is. Netscape. So he didn't call him Netscape, but he called him everything but. Mm-hmm. But it was more like, I almost said like we do. It's more like Nate, how he talks to his kids, right? It's language that you don't really say out in public. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So out of 7,200 emails, this was the only one. They didn't catch anybody else. This all started because they were looking at the Washington football team. They're trying to make a case against them, and only one person is the scapegoat here, and it's John Gruden.
Well, the interesting thing is...
God bless.
Bless you, Nate.
Lord bless and keep you.
The interesting thing is that I don't think John Gruden was working for the NFL.
That's the point. He's working at ESPN.
I think he was working. Yeah, it was with ESPN. So
you know who broke the story though?
The New York,
ESPN.
Well, they sent the stuff over to the Post, right? Wasn't it the New York Post that
broke the story? ESPN is acting as though they don't know who John Gruden is.
How they miraculously got the emails from ESPN's vault. But the question that I would have if I were investigating this was, who was he sending the emails to? To whom was he sending the emails? How about that?
Felonious.
And what were the responses? And
also
was anybody else engaging in the same conduct at the time? Because these things don't happen in a vacuum.
No.
There's not. I mean, they don't happen in a vacuum. There's not usually just one person who's engaging in this activity.
In raucous emails.
Yeah, in raucous emails. Usually there's a group.
What I think is funny is they're almost acting like he was like, you know what, this guy's a step and fetch, and the other guy goes, I'm in Bible study right now, but I'll get back to you. Like, what was your response back to him?
I'm sure that's why, because he was emailing with Mark May, I'm sure. And
first of all, I think it's funny that the NFL, literally the way you make money is by using your body as a rocket towards somebody else and doing that 50 times a game. They don't care about head injuries, but they do care about how they're perceived to advertisers as being, sensitive to racial issues and all that.
Well, they're supposed to be upstanding citizens and role models for our children.
They all are, until they can no longer play, and then they're all in jail. I just think it's, in an organization, I feel like it was, we've got to get a big name. We can't get an owner because it's harder to find an owner than it is a new coach, so we're going to pop hip. And now you're going to see all those documents like the JFK assassination, and we know who did it. It was the CIA. You heard that here first.
Or ESPN.
ESPN killed JFK so they could launch that network in 1981.
Right.
Do
you remember when they first launched and they had Australian rules football on all the time?
I thought that was great.
It was in ping pong. They had ping pong tournaments from
in
Korea.
Bowling,
Yeah,
because they had no contracts for anything else.
Right. It was awesome.
And now they have the contract for everything, and it sucks. It's terrible.
It kind of does. I kind of miss the old days when you could watch Australian rules football.
I liked when Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann had to describe what was going on because they didn't know what was going on either.
They've got that big weird ball.
I just
and they're kicking it again.
You never hear people say the Wicket Master anymore because I don't even know what that is.
Right.
And I was just like, this is cool. And my sister and I would watch it because we had nothing to do when we got home from school. And I'm like, it's the rugby teams. We didn't know who was on what team. We didn't care. And it was more fun.
Rugby was fun to watch. I enjoyed watching rugby.
But is life better now, or was it better then when we didn't know what the Wicked Man was doing?
I think it was better then.
Yeah, because life sucks ass right now.
I'm very nostalgic.
You could see because
I long for a better day.
What was more fun, rugby or JFK's assassination?
I wasn't alive for that.
Yeah, but if you could be, your dream vacation, are you seeing JFK, the grassy knoll, or are you watching Australian rules football?
I'm thinking football.
I would watch that assassination.
Would you?
Because Jackie Kennedy had a killer arse. I would love to see what's going on there.
You are perverse.
Get a picture of Jackie Kennedy. That woman was put together. You know when they said how beautiful she was? You ever look at those pictures? Her eyes are really spaced out.
Well,
she looks like one of those creatures that comes down and probes people.
Well, sometimes you.
That's why he had Marilyn Monroe and his brother. Well, also factual.
Could be. I don't know. I'm not a JFK expert. Although I do think he was probably the last really good president that we had.
What about Jimmy Carter? He builds houses.
Jimmy Carter is the last really good ex-president that we've had.
You ever see George Bush? You ever see Jr.'s art? It's amazing.
George Bush Jr.
The third. Yeah. He's an artist now.
Really?
We forget all of the horrible things he did as president, but boy, that guy can paint his ass off.
Thank you for the Patriot Act. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who was one of the authors of that? One of the sponsors.
81 million votes was the sponsor of that.
Brandon.
Yeah.
It was
Little Brandon.
I have to say I had to crack up. I was watching DeSantis being interviewed. Or no, he was giving a speech to some group in Florida, and he referred to the Brandon administration.
Well, here's the thing: when I saw him say that, I didn't think it was wrong because I've heard it so many times now. I was like, and then when all those people started chanting, I'm like, why are they chanting for him? Like, oh, that is not his name.
He cracks me up. Little plug here: he does an interview. He's on one of Tucker Carlson's older Tucker Carlson Today shows, and it's worth the watch.
Can you get him here?
Governor DeSantis?
Can you get him on the show?
We could ask.
Send him a letter. Okay. People don't send mail like they used to. I think if you got a handwritten note from you, I would sign off on it.
Dear Governor DeSantis, we would like for you to come on our podcast.
Yeah, from Stan Willis and C. Michael Morris.
See, Michael. Okay.
I feel like I don't.
Brandon Morris.
Yeah. Can we for 1 week rename the show Brandon and Me? Like it'd just be amazing. But it's what's so funny is something like that.
Stan and Brandon show.
Well, this thing has taken on a life of its own to where it's everywhere. Like you're seeing bumper stickers and all that. Has there ever been a president who's been hated more?
I doubt it. Oh my gosh.
He has a 73% disapproval rating.
The thing that just, the thing that's amazing is, they just, the Virginia elections happen, right? And something that rarely happens in Virginia happens. You have a Republican governor, Republican lieutenant governor, and the Democrats are so blind to the reason for that the next day the Biden administration announces that it's going to refine its mandates.
I saw that,
for vaccines, and I'm like, you guys don't get it. I mean, it's no longer along partisan lines. It's no longer you're just ticking off the Republicans. You're ticking off the Democrats.
Right.
You're ticking off the people. I mean, there are a lot of people in these unions and stuff that are saying, I would probably get the dang vaccine, except for now you're pissing me off by telling me I have to. And a lot of those people are Democrats. They're in unions.
I thought you said they're inhuman. I'm like, you can't say they're inhuman.
The guy, I think it's one of the Kansas air traffic.
George Brett.
No, one of the Kansas Air Union heads said, I'm a lifelong Democrat. I will never vote for a Democrat again. He's going to, this is stupid. I mean, how can you be that tone deaf? I guess
I don't understand what the end game to this is, because again, this isn't 3.5 years into this. This is 10 months into this.
Right.
When you see that, look at the New Jersey elections. Oh, you'll like this. So Rachel Maddow, as I always say, that guy is hilarious.
Yeah.
His statement yesterday on his show. What is funny about that? The balls on this guy to say this. Mm-hmm. The good news is it's trending towards Democrats because, yes, they lost Virginia, but they didn't lose New Jersey. And then they went back like 40 years. Every time a Democrat has lost Virginia and not lost New Jersey, look at the prosperity. And I thought, that's a weird thing to say. It's like saying, yeah, sure, that lady dropped the food on the floor, but at least she put it back on and she gave me 10% off.
Right. And if you go back in history, every time she drops the food on the floor, she puts it back on and people eat it.
Right.
So,
but that was what that was the things that she put together as don't panic. It wasn't that the messaging is bad. I was telling Nate and Jonathan the other day, when I'm watching election coverage or if I'm watching the World Series, I don't care about the person that won. I want to see what the other side. I want to watch you with your chin on the table. We don't know how this happened. And I'm watching Chuck Todd, and I don't know this woman's name, so I'm just going to call her Not Chuck Todd. Mm-hmm. And they're interviewing all these different people.
Familiar with Not Chuck Todd.
She's hot, though. I wish I knew her name. But anyway, this woman literally is looking at Chuck Todd like, well, what's the answer to this? And Chuck Todd was high school education. It says, I don't know what's wrong with the country that they're not on board with these things. He didn't, like, they brought up CRT in schools. They brought up vaccine mandates, all that, as though these were the highlights. How do people not see what a good thing this is? The issue became in Virginia, you attack the parents.
Absolutely.
And Phil Murphy, that Project Veritas, which that is the coolest thing that somebody's able to,
Veritas?
That they're able to pull that off. Like, I keep thinking, like, I couldn't get Nate to tell me where he lives if I knew him for 5 years. This guy's getting people to say, oh, yeah, the viruses do this and this and this, and we're going to cheat in the elections. Yesterday, they showed somebody that said he was Irish, just walked into a polling center and said, they told me I could just come in and vote. And a woman there says, well, this isn't for the president. He goes, I know. They said I could just come in and vote. She goes, well, just go ahead and vote and we'll just figure it out later. Now, all this stuff gets taken down, so I try to screen grab it and send it out as many people as I can. This is what's going on. And then you have Murphy wins. The good news for that guy is after midnight, he was down 20,000 votes. They found 40,000 votes. And it was lucky. It was really, that was lucky. Convenient. But in that situation,
it's a replay of the extremely fair and upright and very positive 2020 elections.
I think all of our elections should do that. They should always end in people going in and stealing things inside of the Capitol. Well, like, what value does that have? Could I sell that anywhere? I don't know. If I got the Constitution, would anybody pay for that?
I don't know.
Because if somebody sends me an email, I will steal the Constitution. I don't know where it's at. Isn't it in Philadelphia? If someone knows where the Constitution is and will email me, I will then go steal it. As long as someone will buy. You don't know where it's at either. You're questioning yourself if you know where that's at.
Well, I don't know if it's in the Smithsonian or in Philadelphia. It used to be in Philadelphia.
Where is the Smithsonian? Is that in Philadelphia?
No, the Smithsonian's in D.C., but the Declaration of Independence used to be in Philadelphia. I don't think the Constitution's there. I think the Constitution's actually at the Capitol.
All right. Well, we need to. This should be brought to you by Expedia. Expedia, if you're going to steal something from the government, book your trip there, save yourself 20%.
The original Constitution is actually there. You can get a copy of it.
You mean I can borrow it?
You can get a copy of it.
What if I want the real thing?
I doubt they'll let you have it.
What if I ask?
It probably does. I saw that movie.
Which one?
Nate said that it had a treasure map on the back.
Have you ever done this? Have you stolen a parchment? I bet you didn't know the word parchment before I just said it. Did you? Did you question yourself? Like, parchment, that's really...
Your vocabulary is just...
It grows...
freaking enormous.
You remember
honestly, the average vocabulary in the United States is around 500 words, average working vocabulary. I mean, you've got at least 400 there in yours.
I like to use words improperly just to throw them in there because I like to test people and they're going, I don't even know what that word means, so just nod and agree.
Okay.
Speaking of that, so when I was watching the news coverage and they were saying that, I found it. There's a guy named Major Sargent or Major Smith or whatever. That's
Sergeant Major?
Whatever his name was. It made me think of Darren on Bewitched. They changed those guys around. Did you know that?
He had a Beatles album.
Who had a Beatles album?
Sergeant Major.
You're thinking of Sergeant Pepper. Anyway, the point being that this guy was reporting the results. They're right on the screen, and I got a video screen capture of it. He's looking at the Republican is up by 1,500 votes, and he gets confused because it says 49.9 and 49.3. He reports the number wrong, and you can almost hear him go, and anyway, let's throw it to the weather. Like he didn't know how to get out of it because you could tell he read it wrong. And the person next to him goes, well, obviously the Democrats are still ahead of them. And I'm like, you're looking at the same screen. Again, you cannot trust the media. This show is media. You can trust this because we bring it to you
as far
raw.
As you can throw it.
Yeah. This show is probably the number one show talking about law in Columbus, Ohio.
I think so. At whatever time it is.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays.
Have you ever heard all those other law shows?
When the planes are taking off to the east at Port Columbus. This
is at least as good as whatever CNN has on it. Let's say 8 to midnight.
Oh, Lord. I hope we're better than that.
Here's the thing. I think that
I can't even stand to watch CNN. I mean, honestly, I just can't. I just watch it and I just go, oh my gosh.
When there's breaking news, that's the only time I ever see it because they haven't established what the story is yet. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's breaking like Aaron Rodgers. They find out that they asked him, are you vaccinated in training camp? And he says, I am, oh God, what's the name? Basically, he was using like essential oils and Cheeto dust and he didn't take the vaccine.
So he's vaccine agnostic.
Yes. But the way he answered, they didn't say, are you vaccinated? They said, "Are you protected?"
Are you protected?
Are you protected? And he said, "Yes."
Yeah,
and
I just bought some Trojans, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking.
He's got that kind of money that I think he could afford a whole box of them, not just borrow one. That's another thing, kids. Don't borrow those. You have no idea if they've been in a wallet.
Don't find them on the street.
Yeah. Wait, the women or the
either?
I disagree. If you have a condom, find a woman on the street. That's completely different. Did you ever see Pretty Woman? That.
Unfortunately, yes, I did see that.
Okay, first of all, that was the biggest romance. I looked at that as a kid and I'm like, that's what I want.
I mean, two of my favorite actors are in that movie.
The girl that played her friend.
Yep, that
She
one.
was in Just Shoot Me.
That one and the other one. Yeah, those are my favorite actors.
Again, I bet
You thought I was going to say Richard Gere, didn't you?
No. Oh wait, the little fat guy from Seinfeld was in there. Excuse me, the morbid little beast guy.
Paul. What's Paul?
Wasn't it Jason?
Jason Alexander.
Yeah, I was at Jason Robards.
Yeah.
What if Jason Robards played the part of Julia Roberts? Is that the same kind of movie?
That would be humorous.
It would be amazing, especially that part where he climbs up the stairs, and then Jason Robards would be there smoking a cigar. What do you want? Anyway, I think we've established Henry Ruggs is in trouble.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. But tune in next time when we actually get to a point. You've been listening to Objections with C. Stanley Willis and C. Michael Morris.